Being a dad is hard. It's high stakes. It takes a toll on our self-worth, mental health, and can be lonely. But why would we ever want to do something so important in isolation? Legacy Makers, a conversation for dads, is quite simply two normal dads having conversations about, you guessed it, being a dad. The highs, the lows, and the learnings along the way. We are four dads. We want to remedy the deficiency we see in community for dads, and we want to ruthlessly encourage dads on their journey to build lasting legacy for the faces they love the most.
All right, Eric, so first 4 episodes of Legacy Makers, I think we realized there was one person we mentioned in every single episode. That was Mike Linch. Is that right?
It was multiple times.
Yeah. It's multiple times. So we decided that our first guest, maybe our only guest, maybe a returning guest, who knows. But we wanted to have a conversation in person with Mike Linch. We got him here today. He's a pastor. He's a baseball coach. He's got Lynch with a Leader podcast. You going to plug that for him?
Listen, if you Lynch with the Leader, how many episodes are you at now?
We're at 204 episodes out, I think.
For me, it's a must listen a couple times a month. So yes, Lynch with the Leader, check that out anywhere you get your podcast. But yes, we are pumped to have him with us in person. He did both of our weddings.
He did officiate both of the weddings, so we should have brought Brittany and Laura for this one as well.
Yeah, that's maybe a special guest episode that we'll try to avoid.
We don't have enough time for that episode.
No, but let me just share this, because this may be a segue into this. So, as we said, Mike's a pastor. Laura and I did not attend his church when we asked him to marry us, and the reason, Mike, that we asked you to marry us, and this is being real with you, is you were the pastor that we looked at that had a really successful church, but more than that, had a really successful marriage and had been an incredible dad. And you have amazing adult children who love you. We were like, this guy did it right. And so this is the person, more than we want to officiate our wedding, this is the person we want to sit with in preparation for marriage. And so I think Eric and I in the next 30 minutes want to learn how you did it all. So that's the goal of this time.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. So for us, and we've talked a lot about this, you've leaned into dads in the community. You've coached a bunch of guys both on the sports field, but just at life. And so for us and our listeners, we're just trying to unpack, man, it's hard to be a dad. And so for us to be able to sit with you, gain that perspective, the first thing on my mind is, as I think about some of the conversations we had, one quote that always resonates with me is, I'll be saying, hey, I'm struggling with this. What's going on? You say, Eric, I've never met a bad dad who's trying to be great.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that, man. Just unpack that.
Well, I think it's intentionality. And I think, Eric, when a guy asks that question, what he's saying is, I know where I want to be. Yes, I get off course. We all do. But my intentions are in the right place. And I think just for so many guys, focusing those intentions and knowing how to do that is probably the work of it, but they're thinking about it. It's front of mind. They're going to fail, as John Maxwell would say, they're going to fail forward because they're trying to do the right thing. The guys that get in trouble are the ones that their kids turn 19 and they're like, oh my gosh, my time of being a dad's over and now I've lost all those years of influence. They just didn't think about it. So I think you're always going to fail forward, even not doing the right things when your heart is to do it right. I think that's where most guys live, is in that world.
Okay, I think we both have a lot of lines, Eric, that we've heard Mike say through the years. One is this concept of being famous in your own house. And I know your world may be different than some of the others. You are a pastor, but you had the opportunities for a lot of years to go do the speaking circuit deal, to do the books, to do all the things to be famous other places. And you've made this intentionality to be famous with Ann and with Casey and Mary Michael. How did that guide you?
So I remember I was talking about this with a group of men last week. Our kids are grown. I remember the conversation with Eddie Bishop sitting at a little breakfast spot in Kennesaw, Georgia. And he said, Mike, you get a choice. You can be known by everybody or you can be known best by the people that you live with. Many years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to live out of that choice that you make. He said, you're young. You're a young parent. You're going to have the rest of your life to go do all those things, but you have a defined time those kids live in your house. You get a choice. And that was where the whole thought came from. And I made that choice. Were there times I regretted it? Yes. Were there times that Casey and Mary Michael were on every last nerve I had and I wish I was somewhere else? Yes. But now looking back in the rearview mirror, I have no regrets. And I think, we all know that there's trade-offs for trade-ups. There were some things I traded off, but the trade-up of having no regrets now that my kids are older, wouldn't trade it for the world.
Just context for people that are listening. So Casey's now how old?
He's about to turn 30.
Okay. Mary Michael
is about to turn 27.
Okay. So for most of the guys listening to this, you're on the back half of that.
That's right.
But it's worked.
We have been blessed. And up until this point, we know this could change any day, but our kids have been amazing, and they're both married, and they've married amazing people. And I look back at those years, man, I cherish those laughs and those memories and those car rides home. And nobody had to tell me about them. I got to experience them. And I know that I was blessed. I was in a job I could do that. Some guys are in jobs you don't get the choice of travel. But making the most. I remember talking to a guy years ago. He's a great dad. He traveled all week for his company. But, buddy, his Saturdays were defined. And he made the most of them. And he raised an amazing family while traveling. But he wasn't going to go do something selfish after he had been gone all week. He laid out what that weekend would look like with his wife and with his kids and raised a great family and had a great marriage and traveled. I got the choice. I didn't have to. And so, but it is a choice. You trade off some stuff. Some of those honorariums would have been wonderful during that season, right? But being home was better.
Yeah.
So good. We talked a little bit about this in a previous episode about, even if you have 30 minutes, like we oftentimes can have a victim mindset. Man, I'm busy. I travel all the time. There's time. And oftentimes we think about these moments that have to be these big, grandiose fireworks, big vacations. Oftentimes our children are going to remember those little things that we have the opportunity every day to make those imprints, but we just don't almost give them enough attention or intentionality behind to maximize that.
Yep.
Right. Back to that comment about the guy who traveled all week, but listen, you ask his kids, I'm sure his kids like, Dad was best dad ever. There all the time.
That's exactly right.
Because he maximized that. So you've mentioned it a couple of times, this kind of this almost period of influence that, how do we ensure as husbands that, look, we've got 18 years where we've got this max window, obviously your dad their whole lives, but making sure that we don't over-rotate or spend too much time. Talk about the importance of your and Ann's relationship and the alignment that you guys had.
If that doesn't work, everything falls apart. Because here's what every couple has to remember. The kids are, as much as I love them, they left us. They went off to college, and I paid for them leaving. This is an amazing thing. And so they left us, and it's the two of us. It's just Ann and I now. And so if the foundation of the home is strong, there's something for the kids to build off of. And we weren't great at it. We weren't perfect at it, but we tried. And so we didn't go away. A lot of couples say, well, we're going to get away on 5 trips a year together. We weren't as good about that. We go one time a year away for a day or two, but we would take a night and go get a hotel. We'd go on Priceline. We were poor. Get on Priceline and find a cheap room somewhere and go get a night and just go out to a nice dinner and be at the ball game the next day. But we worked at it. My off day is Friday. Fridays, I didn't do anything on Fridays. That was a shutdown, lockdown. That was Ann and I's day. And what we did was we built something together that wasn't dependent on the kids being in the house. And I think what happens to so many guys is it's sort of divide and conquer. You take this child, I'll take this child. We raise them, we get them up, they're gone, and we look at each other, we don't even know each other. We have nothing in common. The only thing we've ever talked about is the kids. We haven't grown any together. So that couple, that man and that woman growing together is everything to the foundation those kids are going to build off of for their eventual homes.
So good. And listen, there's going to be guys listening to this that didn't have the best marriage, and unfortunately it ended in where they're not together. But I still think your words are spot on for that relationship as well. The kids have to see a functioning mom and dad and figuring it out, because unfortunately but that doesn't create a situation where that guy doesn't have, okay, I don't have to do that anymore because it didn't work out with their mom.
That's right.
Right.
Well, and I think it's continual investments. It's not one trip a year is going to solve that. It's communicating daily, knowing each other's love language, speaking life into each other. Ann and I had all kinds of things. We never made fun. Like, I never walked into a group of Ann's friends and wondered if she had been downplaying me in front of them. I knew she hadn't. Nor did she walk into a group of mine and know that I was talking about her, right? Well, that even played into the home. The kids couldn't play each other. We were on the same page. We may feel differently about it. We'd handle that behind the scenes. But as far as the kids knew, mom and dad were one statement people. Whatever statement Ann made, I was behind. And whatever statement I made, she was behind. If we felt differently about that, it was handled privately. And so that investment, I think, gave them the foundation. You can fail and it's okay. We're not going anywhere. We're here. But we've got to be strong for them to be strong.
Yeah.
So, Mike, one of the things that Eric and I talk about is, one, we want to be ruthlessly authentic here. We want to just share from our heart, but we also want to be encouraging to dads. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's encouraging to me is, like, give me some real tactics that I can implement. So I'm sure Eric and I have both heard some from you over the years. I want to hit you with a couple if you just unpack them.
Yeah.
One, and I'm embarrassed to say this because I don't always do this well, but talk about your strategy of not taking a phone call into the house.
I remember, man, so I'm old. And so this wasn't even on a podcast. This was on a CD, all right, that I got mailed once a month. And I remember a guy saying this that I really looked up to. And, man, it resonated because I would take calls into the house all the time. And I'd come walking in and they'd come running up and I'm shooing the kids away. So I just made it a rule in my house that I wasn't going to take a call into the house. If I got one in my job, I don't get to pick when calls come in. My job is a 24/7 job. So whether it's a vacation or whether it's on the deck, I would step out of the house to take the call that I had to take. But what I wanted my kids to know is our home isn't a place that I am going to use my time with you while I work. When I walk in the house, I'm gonna be fully there. I'm going to be fully there. And it was a reminder when I finished the call in the driveway or driving in our little cul-de-sac by our old house, when I finished that call, it was a reminder when I go in home, this is the beginning of a brand new day. It's not the end of a day. This is the beginning of a brand new day. And I heard a guy say one time, I don't remember who it was. I don't even know who I ripped this off from. But he said it's interesting. Hebrew days began in the evenings.
Yeah, we ripped that off from you. I talked about it last time.
It's so true, though.
Unpack it, though.
Yeah. So the Hebrew day begins in the evening. Where we bring our worst home, they begin their day. When I cut that call off and walk in the house, really what happened at work is small compared to find out how the field trip went or how the field day went or how this test went that we had studied for on the trampoline and they had memorized the whatever. How did it go? And it's not me walking in going, I need 30 minutes to myself. Let me get on the back porch, kick up my feet. They need me. So that was the break for me between work and home. And, man, I am so thankful. I'm so thankful I heard that day because I'm a workaholic. I love to work. And I don't ever mind taking somebody's phone call. But I would have done it at the detriment of my kids if I hadn't heard that.
It's such a good practical thing to do. And I think it's – and I hope that the impact of you sharing had a similar impact of you hearing.
Amen.
We referenced, I think you had Daniel Harkavy on your podcast recently, and that is what you just shared is really how you win your 5 to 9.
That's right.
Like that quote has,
gosh.
I've used it so much since then, and it's so profound and so simple, but winning your 5 to 9, both ends of that.
That's right.
And that's exactly how you do it. Those are the things that you do to maximize that window of influence that you have with your kids, man.
That's exactly right. And it's the thing. I will be replaced at work. Fact. Nobody can beat me at my house. Fact. And I keep those very defined in their avenues if I can monitor myself. Does it mean that if a call comes in, I don't have to take it sometimes? No. It's what you do the majority of the time, not your one-offs.
Okay, taking on those tactics. So both Eric and I, you know this, have younger kids.
That's right.
So you have talked about this concept of, I think Eric talked about parenting tight early so you can loosen later. Fix it for us. But you're harder in the younger years so that they can have more freedom when they get older?
100%. It's so funny now. All these studies are coming out about that. The stricter the parent, the more well-rounded the adult. And it's like we help them form their character. And I remember I was sitting in a family and marriage class in college, a counseling class I was taking, and they drew the inverted pyramid, and they said this is a great parenting model. You parent tight when they're young, and then as they get older, you loosen up and you give them freedoms, and they earn those freedoms. Our tendency as parents is to tighten loose when they're young and to tighten them when they're 13, 14, and 15, and they're like, listen, man, I've already lived without borders. I don't need you to build a wall for me. I'm okay. And then all the tensions of parenting and parenting teenagers come in. Listen, if I could go back and redo it, so I'm going to say two things. Number one, to dads that are parenting kids now, it's way harder than when I parented. That is the truth. Life is harder. There's more junk. There's more stuff your kids face that mine didn't face, and they're not that old. But time's moving quick. So number one, I would say that. Yours is harder. You will not regret setting those borders for them and helping them grow into the adults God created them to be. I have yet to see that go wrong. But I can name you a million examples of parents that just let their kids go. And then all of a sudden they get in high school and they're like, my kids don't obey rules. Well, yeah, we know because you've never made them obey rules.
Yeah.
Eric, there's a guy who works with me named Bart. I'd say he's pretty strict on the spectrum of these things, but he did something interesting. He's now his second about to enter this phase. He's got 4 kids, but when they are seniors in high school, he gives them no rules for the final year in his house because he says he wants them to experience that freedom under his roof before they experience outside of his roof. And it seems to have worked really well so far. So that's good. I struggle with being really strict at the younger years because Eric and I have talked about, we're both pleasers and I want my kids to be happy, but having no rules does not help them be happy long term.
Well, and it's harder. It is harder to parent that way.
It is.
You know, Brittany and I sometimes talk about we might spend an entire Saturday correcting. Yes, it's yes, ma'am, yes, sir. It's look them in the eye. It's hey, but then at the end of the day, when you sit and you think this is what you need, it's what's required. But it's harder. It's easier just to let it go. And I think it's a good word and a good reminder. What would you say to somebody who's listening to this and their kids, they might have missed that window. Maybe they're 10, 11, 12, and okay, well, I missed that. Now I'm in trouble. Is it? Can you still save it?
100%. So we say this all the time at North Star. It's never too late to start doing what's right. And if you are listening to this and you're like, man, I've started too late, start. And it's not like you're going to lock them down, but just letting them know, I love you too much to let all this. My kids missed a lot of stuff that I didn't feel good about them going to. And I remember something a kid in my youth group taught me. He said, if you ever have friends, Mike, that you want your kids to play with that person's kids and your kids are not comfortable with it, don't make them. There's a reason they're not comfortable with it. There's things they know about that person you don't know. One of the best lessons I ever learned. Well, if I am now trying to do what's right, I've got to be okay that it is going to be tough at home and it may be tough for my kids. The hardest part about parenting, I didn't mind peer pressure. I was totally fine doing my own thing. I hated to watch my kids have to do their own thing because of a rule that we had established in our house that made them not fit in. That was hard. And it was hard on Ann and I because we were both involve people. But sometimes we're going to make a family choice that's not a society choice.
Yeah.
And it puts your kids in a weird spot. Understand that and try to do the best you can to navigate around it. But it's never too late to start doing what's right.
Can I ask you a question about how do you've shared a little bit of this in the past, and as my kids get a little bit older, I'm starting to see this issue. How do you parent a kid who's different than you or maybe different than you might even want them to be or think that they should be?
You bend. So great leadership isn't being firm and saying everybody adjust to me. Great leadership is the willingness to adjust to the people you lead. Well, the home's the same way. We do this in business. We don't treat every client the same way or employee the same way. We can't treat every person in our home the same way. So it was really easy to parent when Casey loves to go to ball games. Well, I love to go to ball games. Mary Michael didn't enjoy ball games. That was harder. That was much harder to do. But in the same way, Casey and I were most opposite. I am outgoing, never met a party I didn't want to start, never met a study group I didn't want to host. Casey didn't go to any proms in high school. And I would almost try to make him go. Why would you not want to go? And he's like, why do I want to go somewhere I don't want to go, spend money on somebody I don't even like, and be somewhere I don't want to be? And it was really hard to argue with. It was opposite us. And we let him be him. Okay. It killed us. Everybody's posted prom pictures. And he's upstairs. And he was totally fine. We weren't. We were devastated. He was totally fine. Mary Michael just had different likes than I or Ann had. She didn't care one lick about athletics. So we had to figure out things that they enjoyed to do together. And she really never found herself till college. But we tried. You know, it wasn't like, well, this is who we are. You're going to have to. Yeah, she went to a lot of ball games she didn't want to be at. And Casey played on a lot of crappy teams because I would pick guys on the team that had little sisters Mary Michael's age. So I would keep peace at my house, but their brothers were terrible. All right. And so please no one take offense if you're listening. But anyways, so that happened. But it is really hard. It is really hard when you have to adjust yourself to be something they need from you. In athletics, the coaches call it the coach's curse because so many coaches have daughters and that don't enjoy sports. And there's this dad everybody in town knows, and he has a daughter that could care less. And they call it the coach's curse. And because it reminds them, you got to remember, not everybody in your house likes football.
You can still bend but be sturdy.
100% you can.
Right, and that's the trick.
That's exactly right, Eric. It's bending to them to meet them where they are, but it's not bending your values. It's bending your personality and not making them be like me. Casey didn't want to ride to school and talk. So if I took Casey to school, he may not say two words. Mary Michael wanted me to take her to school because she wanted to talk the whole way. And doesn't want to talk in the mornings. So we all had to bend to what that child needed, but you do it because you love them.
That's good. Eric, I got one more.
Go for it.
You and I were talking the other day, and you said something that has struck with me. This is not on the podcast. It's just in a conversation. You talked about how you don't want your kids to show up one day at your retirement party and all of these people from your work talk about how great you are, and your kids be like, nah, that's crap. Like, or that's great for them. Like, I'm glad they got it. We didn't see that. And that was convicting to me because I thought about that. And Mike, you have talked about this concept before of being famous, we talked about being famous at home, but like being the same person that they see on a stage that they see at home. First of all, I just want to say from Eric and I, like, we've seen you do that. So we appreciate you modeling that. How did you think about that, and how do you actually do it?
I was terrified by it. Every pastor's terrified by it because Sunday is a day you can make yourself look really good. And you can tell all the best stories about yourself, and you can present yourself in whatever way. You've got 30 minutes and a microphone to present an image. And you know churches employ you by your image. And that's intoxicating at times, and it gets to your head. And I also grew up, especially going to Liberty, hearing the stories of kids whose dads pastored and hearing what they said about them. And I remember telling Ann, I don't ever want my kids to say that about me. And so I obsessively think about it, that I wanted the kids to go, that's just who he is. And that faith that he may talk about, I wished at times I did something else. So I could say, listen, I would do this whether I was a ball coach or that's about all else I would do. But whatever else Dad did, he would act the exact same way. And so we thought about it. And I was probably too obsessive about it at times because I didn't want people at North Star to wave pom-poms and go, wow, isn't he great? Isn't he funny? He's so lighthearted and he's so kind. And I was a jerk to their mom when nobody was watching. And I walked in the house grouchy and ripping everybody because I had a bad day at work. But I'm telling everybody on Sunday the 5 tips to communicating healthy in your house. Yes. Did I walk in grouchy? 100% of the time. Not all the time. I did it. It wasn't the predominant thing. And none of us are going to do this perfect all the time. But if on a 50-50 scale, I'm on the back end of it, that's probably not good. And so I've thought about it all the time, and we said 3 things. And I remember I talked about this with both of you guys. When our kids grew up and got married, I knew they were going to sit down with a pastor to do their premarital. I wanted them to say, I love the Lord, I love the church, and I love my family. And if we accomplish those 3 things, we've done well. And that was our prayer, and we parented toward those 3 goals.
Yeah. So a couple of things strike me. So one is we've talked a lot about, and it's very cliche, but defining what success looks like and almost reverse engineering that, right?
That's right.
And what you said is exactly that. You guys were very clear. And could you have added things to that list of 3 and it become 10 things? Absolutely.
Yep.
But these are the 3 things. And if you ladder up your actions and how you're thinking about things and how you're pouring into them, you're going to have a much better success rate if you're focused and you're prioritizing and helping steer that way. So that resonates with me. I'll tell you, man, this is one of the most convicting things for me as well. And Kevin mentioned me talking about that, like visualizing my retirement party and having the kids there. But this is the essence of that quote I started with. I've never met a bad dad who's trying to be great. So while you might have been obsessing over it, had you not been thinking about this, the chances of you going off course are going to be exponentially higher.
That's right.
So while it probably drove stress and it drove anxiety, that anxiety or stress isn't always bad. It focuses us. So I think that's really, really a big takeaway is you got to be thinking about this stuff. Mm-hmm. We're now, doing a podcast with a few people that are listening, but now they're going to be like, hey, those guys obviously care about being dads. Like, that's an incremental step of like, okay, well, it's convicting to show up as a dad, So, I mean, we've got to be who we say we're going to be.
Yeah. Mike, as we think about wrapping it up, I'll hit one and then maybe Eric can hit one. I just love, what advice do you have for Eric and I, for dads like us, at this stage of the journey? What would you tell us?
Don't look too far out. Take advantage of every day. That's what I would tell you. Looking too far out is daunting and can almost make us overthink and overplan. It's living in that moment of the day. And we called it, one time at your company, the messy middle. We heard from Randy Gravitt. The messy middle of parenting is the days that nobody remembers. And you mentioned it, Eric. It's the dirty stuff of parenting. It's not sexy and it's not pretty and there's no life lesson. I didn't get in the car to tell them a life lesson that day. We're just dealing with something that came up and they never forget it. You don't even remember it. So I would say this, live in the compartment of the day. Set goals for where you want to be. Don't obsess over those things. Your kids are mutual funds. You don't see the return now. You'll see the return when they're 25. They may get off course for a year or 2, but they come back because you made the proper investments. They're mutual funds. Don't look at the return every day. It's not going to look pretty all the time.
That's good.
Just hang in for the long-term picture and just keep doing the next right thing. I've got this bracelet on that says "Lock Eyes with Jesus" that we gave out. It sort of came up on a group call that I do with a bunch of guys. But if I lock eyes with Jesus every day, I lock eyes with my spouse every day, and I lock eyes with my kids every day. I look them in the eyeballs and have a conversation with all three. It's going to be really hard to get off course. And it's going to be really hard to look back one day and go, man, I really screwed that up. If I lock eyes with Jesus, I lock eyes with my spouse, lock eyes with my kids, I do work. I'm going to go do work, and I'm going to bust my tail at work. But when I come home, I'm locking eyes with my kids and my family. It's really hard to mess that up because they know at the end of the day, he really did care. Yeah, he's a little stupid at times, but he really did care. Did he fly off the handle over something he shouldn't have? Yes. Are there times I'm glad Mary, Michael, and Casey didn't have record things on their phone when I was screaming at them? Yes. Am I glad Mary, Michael, when she yelled down to tell me she was thirsty at 2 o'clock in the morning and I told her to drink her own saliva? Yes, I'm thankful that there was not recording devices. But those were one-offs. Those weren't daily occurrences. And I think that intentional investment over a long period of time is what we're all shooting for.
All right, I'm gonna hit you with the last question,
Okay.
and it's something that you actually asked me when we were sharing a stage at North Star talking about dads. The end of the day, what do you want Mary, Michael, and Casey to say about you?
He loved Jesus with all he had. He loved Ann, loved his wife, and he loved us. That'd be it.
It's awesome. Well, listen, you are so important to us, both Kevin and I. We appreciate you investing the time. You're so important to the community, the impact you've made on so many. But more than anything, I just know from knowing you and your family, the impact you've made, you and Ann together, and on your kids. And we're just grateful for you, man.
Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Love
Mike.
you
We
guys.
appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Legacy Makers with Kevin Scott and Eric Blumenthal. Make sure you download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. All rights reserved.